The Ryan Stick Show.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Oh, there's an image and there's me. What's going on? Welcome to the Ryan Stick Show. This is going to be a shorter episode than usual because I got some movies to watch. Why do I have some movies to watch? You might ask. It's because the Fantasia Film Festival is back, and this time it's personal, very personal, because you can watch it at home. There are some selective screenings happening downtown, but you can order a bunch of movies from the Fantasia Film Festival website and watch them in the comfort of your own home. Go to the FantasiaFestival.com and be able to see one of my favorite things to do in Montreal each and every year is the Fantasia Film Festival. I've seen some of my favorite movies of all time, including Trick or Treat, for the very first time there. And I gotta say, it is such an experience to I think I miss a live Fantasia audience more than I miss going to concerts. And I've seen some doozies. I've seen Metallica pretty close. I've seen Iron Maiden. I've seen all the greats. I've seen Green Day multiple times, but I miss that Fantasia Film Festival audience so much more. So at home, maybe I'll play an Iron Maiden audience from YouTube playing in the background as I watch Fantasia films, just so I could feel that extra layer of community when you watch that stuff. I also miss the people. I'm going to keep that up there. I miss the people at Fantasia Film Festival, including my friend Steven, who's already told me about some great movies. And I'm going to tell you what he told me to watch. Steven's I was going to say a wise boy, but he's a man now. I've known him so long. I've known him a few years. He's grown up before my eyes. Steven Sung-Hung Lee is such a nice kid. Guy, man, I like to call him Baby Steven because it sounds R&B to me. Okay, so Steven recommends Prisoners of the Ghostland, King Car, and The Sadness. He says those movies are awesome. I believe him. Steven referred to me to an amazing movie last year called Clapboard Jungle, and also Fried Berry. Now, Fried Berry, if you haven't seen Fried Berry, everybody, Fried Berry is on the Shudder network, on the Shudder streaming service right now, and it is batshit crazy. Saw that at Fantasia last year. Also, the Mortuary Collection, I also saw at Fantasia last year. And it's really nice to see that Shudder is an app where those movies can find a home for so many people to be able to watch. The Mortuary Collection is very cool. It's a bunch of shorter stories all compiled into one as the mortician at a mortuary tells this young girl all these stories, and as he tells the stories or she opens up the books, you see the little short stories that happen. It's very cool. Fried Berry is a little hard to explain. It's a guy who takes some drugs and then gets kidnapped by aliens and then proceeds to trip out, but that description is so not telling you what the brilliance of Fried Berry actually is. This is Jason Lee Rockman and my favorite film from last year. And the director, Ryan Coogler, is an amazing guy. We've previously, me and Jason have both previously interviewed him on our respective shows. And this year, I'm going to be doing some reviews and some interviews alongside Jason Rockman on his socials as well. We've teamed up in many things before with me behind the camera, but it is an honor and such a privilege in a good way. That word is used so in a negative connotation so much these days. I must specify that it's going to be really cool to be on camera with my buddy talking about what we love the most, which is music and movies, but mostly movies in this context. So what else is going on? Well, hey, by the way, if you have any comments, I would love to talk to you. I'd love to say hi. So the Fantasia Film Festival is happening, like I said, and it's absolutely awesome. And so go to FantasiaFestival.com. You can watch a lot of library at home, and a lot of films will be playing the night that they premiere. And you're gonna want to check that because there's also Q&As afterwards, and the team behind Fantasia tries so hard, and their skill to adapt the festival digitally last year was nothing short of phenomenal, I gotta say. Like, they didn't miss a beat. It was easy to use, and it's not stressful. It's a very lovely way to discover movies from all around the world, especially genre movies where you might never see them again. You know, like I said, Shudder gives some of these some of these movies at home, but not all movies do get those homes. And sometimes my buddy Jason Boudreau and we saw a movie called oh my god, I knew it until I was supposed to say the words, and then it left me. God, it's about these two friends who kidnapped their boss's daughter. It's so dark, so hilarious, and I wish I could remember the name of it right now. But let's just say it never got proper distribution. It got a little bit of a distribution, but never a push. Never been on a streaming network, and it's just really interesting. And had we not walked into it that day, it's something with best friends. I don't know. I'm slipping in my old age. Hey, what's going on? Oh my god! And speaking of, oh my god, dude, it's so fucking awesome that you're saying that right now. It's okay. There's a movie I saw at Fantasia years ago called Super Powerless, which a certain gentleman plays a superhero in it called Captain Truth. Super Powerless is one of those movies that had you not ever kind of caught in the cinema, it might have missed you, and it would be such a shame because Super Powerless was so embraced by the audience that saw it, including me. And we did an interview with the cast, including this handsome guy right here. And what's crazy about that is that they liked the interview, and I think they included it on the DVD of it. And that's absolutely bonkers and very, very validating that someone likes your work so much that they would put it on a DVD. So really appreciate that. And it's really had a great message. Basically, all these people were friends for years and decided to make a movie together. And I think at the end of the film, it says, "Make movies with your friends." And oh, thank you. It says that's because you can't guess. Thanks. I also saw a movie there called The Battery years ago. It was made for like $6,000, and it was absolutely awesome. And it's about the relationship between two baseball players during a zombie apocalypse who barely knew each other on their team, but then found themselves kind of like the only ones left that they knew in a zombie apocalypse, and having to band together. And oh, hey, what's going on? I didn't even see that. All right, so well, I know you aren't really talking about music, but I've been really getting into Soundgarden. I tried Black Holes and didn't like it, but then I heard Rusty Cage and Jesus Christ Post. It's true. Sorry to just pivot right into that. I could take off the Fantasia thing if we're going to talk about music. I'm just going to finish up on Fantasia. Anyway, The Battery was made for $6,000, and it was absolutely awesome. And yeah, and another movie I saw that year, and this is really fun to say, is called Resolution, and it was absolutely brilliant, super low budget too. And then the same directors made this movie called Spring, which I still have yet to see, but they also made this movie called The Endless, and The Endless is fucking crazy, and it's kind of like a pseudo sequel to Resolution. Why I bring this up is that Justin and Aaron, who were the directors of those movies, are now the directors of Marvel's Moon Knight. And it's crazy to see two people come to the festival with their first feature and with stars in their eyes and just dreams and just sheer brilliance on a shoestring budget and what they can accomplish. It's just absolutely stunning. So yeah, go to watch Fantasia Film Festival and see these future directors, these future superstars, sometimes come in their infancy to the festival just with the world at their I don't know the expression, but you know what I mean. Oh, and yeah, Endless is pretty amazing. It's true. I'm really looking forward to Iron Fest. Sylvie, it's like I freaking missed those shorts I used to make. You and Jason cracked me up, and the highlight of my day. I'll be sure to check out Super Powerless. See. Yeah. Wow, that's a fast 10 minutes. The music's already over. Okay. So, God, so many Fantasia memories. Such great stuff. Yeah. Another movie I saw that just kicked my ass a few times was this movie called The Frankenstein's Complex, and it was produced by Guillermo del Toro. And Guillermo del Toro actually came to the festival to accept a Lifetime Achievement Award, and proceeded to Kevin Smith style do like a Q&A and just tell stories for the rest of the night, and it was absolutely fantastic. But we cannot forget about the brilliance of the movie, The Frankenstein Complex, because if you are into practical effects, it's kind of the entire history of them, especially in horror movies and cinema, starting with Frankenstein, going all the way to realizing they needed to start going digital in Jurassic Park, and the effect on it had on the industry and Stan Winston Studios. Absolutely fascinating. So if you want to look up something really cool, the Frankenstein Complex is great. Now, like I said, I saw Trick or Treat for the first time at Fantasia, and it kicked my ass. I still, to this day, have so much memorabilia of the character Sam, and I can't believe it's been over 10 years since I first saw that movie. But I went to see it 2 times at Fantasia, and both times, thank you, well timed, and 2 times at Fantasia, and I just absolutely adore that film. And there's another film that played there called Tales of Halloween that you can see, I believe, on Amazon Prime. And although I prefer Trick or Treat, I definitely, oh, thank you very much. There's a lot of Sam stuff here. Thank you, sweetie. Tales of Halloween is very cool because it's a bunch of indie directors all getting together and making short movies, and I believe there's like 9 or 10 of them. And my favorite one is a pseudo kind of Friday the 13th type tribute / stop animated alien little short, and it's really funny. I believe I was talking to the director of that after, and there was another great one by Neil Marshall about pumpkins that come to life. So, there's some shorts in there, like, let's be honest, I'll never lie to you. There's some shorts in there I preferred over others, but I got to say, like, really the standout ones in that one was definitely the Friday the 13th meets Stop Animated Alien and the pumpkins at the end. And, okay, we got some people talking coming in. Let's say, how much are the movie costs on the Fantasia site? Well, I would tell you right now, but then I would have to read. No one wants to see that, especially how bad I read. Oh, here we go. Oh, hey, buddy. I'm going to shut down soon, but you should interview Shane, if that's the right spelling, Premiere, amongst other cool films. Cool. I will do that. Awesome. Yeah, I get all nervous when I got to read on the internet. Like I'm about to fail a spelling bee. Sylvie, what's going on? All right, I said to Gene Simmons Sylvie, I'm really glad you brought that up. Is that to Gene Simmons Trick or Treat? This film with Sam right here is oh my God, Sylvie, have you not seen Trick or Treat yet? It's Trick R''Treat. This is a film about Halloween. And it's almost like Pulp Fiction meets Halloween, where it's all in the same night, the same amount of time, but it's 4 stories that happen to different people all across town, but they kind of interconnect with each other. Now, I actually am a fan of that Trick or Treat film that briefly features Ozzy and has a few scenes with Gene Simmons about the kid who is in a high school. He's the only metalhead, and everyone tortures them relentlessly, and his favorite rock star dies, and by playing a music record by playing a record backwards, he brings them back from the dead, kind of, to pseudo revenge against his bullies. And that's a whole different movie. But Trick R''Treat, Sylvie, oh my God, you will love that movie. It is so cool. It's the most fatefully beautiful film about Halloween I've ever seen. And all the love to Michael Myers, but if you take him away and take away his mask, that movie could have been called Labor Day, and it would have been the same thing. Because, you briefly see pumpkins in the beginning, but this movie is built on what pumpkins are. It's absolutely stunning. Trick or Treat. If you haven't seen Trick or Treat, I strongly recommend it. It's the same director as Krampus. And Krampus is my favorite Christmas movie. So, all right. What else do we have here? Hey, Alan. What's going on? Hey, brother. on the way from vacation. Well, you can watch Fantasia online, dude. You don't have to be jealous. Jake Gunn. Jake Gunn is one of my favorite humans in the world. In fact, a very brilliant fan. You know what I mean? There's a lot of fans out there who are just kind of like, they're fans of stuff. Jake is very. Jake is very. He is. Jake is one of those guys that has passion, research, pronunciation, and will stand down and love what he loves despite the fact if I'm arguing about it. So at the end of a conversation with Jake Gunn about something nerdy, it's almost kind of like at the end of Princess Bride when they stop dueling and they just have to tell each other, you're a good sword fighter. So that's what I love about talking geek stuff with Jake Gunn. Hey, oh, trick or treat. It was in my young days. That's true. That's true. Well, Eric, I'm assuming, based on meeting you in person, that you must be 26 years old. So, your very young days. My friend Scott's watching. I went to elementary school. Me and Scott are going to be talking on the show pretty soon, actually. We're going to be talking nerd stuff. We're going to be having fun because that's what it's all about. That's what you got to do. You got to have fun these days. He's see, there you go. He's 25. I say, riddled with dyslexia. I saw some really cool shit this week, might I add. I saw a movie on Netflix, and Melissa and I are going to be yakking about that on a broadcast we do called Ryan and Mel Talk About Stuff at some point. But I do want to mention that yesterday was kind of like an almost bipolar night on Netflix in which we spent an hour and a half glued to the TV watching Blood Red Sky, which is kind of the coolest vampire movie I think I've seen in a really long time. And it's so interesting to see a feeling of helplessness, yet a feeling of power that you don't want, all come collide with each other without spoiling things. It's kind of like there's a plane and terrorists kind of take over it, but one of the passengers happens to be a woman who has a sickness in which, she's trying to always hold back, but she kind of likes blood. I'll just say that. It's and the rest, just fill in the blanks. Check out Blood Red Sky on Netflix. It's so cool. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. But I got to say, I think it is for you. I think you would like it. And it's in English and German. And when I say that, I'm not talking about an hour and a half aggressively of subtitles. The film is actually brilliantly bilingual in a sense where it seems so much more natural and organic, where someone from a country will speak in that language and someone from another won't. And the kind of, the conversations people have if they can't understand each other. It's actually really cool. And and as someone who doesn't really enjoy reading out loud, I gotta say I didn't miss a beat. It was awesome. So check out Blood Red Sky on Netflix. Now, right after that, you'd think we'd put on our horror movie, but I said I want to give this Netflix dating show called Sexy Beasts a watch. I should probably take out the Fantasia thing because we're not talking about that anymore. I was watching, we were watching Sexy Beasts, and it's this dating show in which two people come up who don't know what each other look like. There's three contestants and one, person they're trying to be the suitor to. And I believe the first round, the girl in which the three guys are trying to win the date with is dressed as the devil. And the other three are dressed as a beaver, a mouse, and possibly some kind of bird. It was last night. We watched 6 in a row, and I gotta say, dating shows are ridiculous, and sometimes they're all the same thing, and sometimes there's this anticipation, and you're waiting for the Ryan Seacrest type to give us what's up, but it's just a narration. It actually moves really quickly, and it's only 20 minutes long each episode. And I was so blown away by the quality of special effects that their makeup had, and especially what they look like without the makeup, because really, and here's a little hint, when they have the worst makeup, it's usually because they're really, really good looking underneath, and much more applied had to kind of throw you off the scent in a sense that they are weren't as gorgeous underneath. It was pretty interesting. I gotta say, Sexy Beast was very cool. My favorite episode is the panda one for sure. Oh, and my friend Yannick just messaged me saying, My Boyfriend's Back is awesome. Didn't expect the ending. My Boyfriend's Back was a movie that I recently bought on Blu-ray. Had no idea it was on Blu-ray. And it was a movie I saw when I was a kid, and I really enjoyed. And I didn't really put two and two together that the theater was empty and no one was smiling. So apparently it didn't do well back in the day, but I sure liked it. Rewatched it later in life, loved it. Watched it a few weeks ago, watched it a few months ago, and then did some research and found out that it was co-written by the same people that made Freddy vs. Jason, and that the director of Freddy vs. Jason was supposed to be the director of that movie. And I reached out and I said, dude, I want to talk about, Jason Goes to Hell, but I also want to talk about My Boyfriend's Back. And we got this great retrospective of the behind the scenes on this silly broadcast you're watching right now. So if you want to watch a kick-ass interview about My Boyfriend's Back and Jason Goes to Hell after I shut up tonight, or if you're ever bored or doing the dishes or whatever, please tune into that. That'd be awesome. All right. What else do we got next? Oh, by the way, thank you everyone for commenting. Fuck, you make me feel amazing. Everyone's talking about Eric's age and being 25. Okay. Scott, my buddy Scott, is saying, dude, Sexy Beast is great. Fiance are watching. I watch it all the time. It's so great. It's awesome. It flies by too. 6 episodes, and it's based on a British show. So somewhere on the internet somewhere is the season from 2014, the British one, and I just need me some more. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Oh yeah, and it's true. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Gotta get that old reading on. I remember seeing the movie back when I was 14. I only remember one scene when they are searching for a lake of dead bodies and then came across them and then just turned it off. Oh yes, we're talking about that movie before. And yes, you are all right. It's just like, at least Sexy Beast isn't another stupid singing show. That's true. There's this thing called The Masked Singer, and my mom and my sister are so into that. I've never, I remember kind of watching a little bit of American Idol in the first season or two, because that just took the world by storm. We fucking forget, like, reality shows used to be kind of like exciting and new. And I remember, like, when Survivor came out, we were on our way to the bar, and I was really young and shouldn't be in a bar. And I remember everybody was talking about who was going to win and stuff, and they were yelling out who's been eliminated. It was kind of like a big deal. And also, then Temptation Island, I remember watching that, and it's crazy how we had this huge flux of reality shows, and then it kind of just all went away. People like, it's kind of like 3D in cinema. Do you remember when everything was in 3D and you had to watch everything in 3D? When's the last time you had to tell somebody, oh, I don't want to watch 3D? Like, it went away, but it never said it was going away. It just kind of like slowly faded out. If anybody can remember what year that was, please let me know. Oh, Sexy Beasts, Eric, is on Netflix. And like I said before, if you want to check out a really cool horror movie, Blood Red Sky, and if you want to see Sexy Beast, it's on Netflix, and it's short, it's silly, it's full. Oh my God, there's one guy who's the guy that the 3 girls are going to try to impress. He's just so full of himself. Good times. Oh, and oh, here we go. Alone was really interesting in the first season. I haven't seen Alone. I really want to check that out. Aw, thanks. Thanks, buddy. I don't know why you're not a big radio host. Me neither. But I am bigger. Since the last time you saw me, there's a lot more of me to love. I gotta say, the pandemic's made life slow down, but it hasn't made me starve. So we all gotta think of ourselves as, we gotta consider ourselves lucky in the situations we are. But here we are all hanging out in the chat. Pretty much, this is all of us just chilling. You know, we gotta teach ourselves how to be in a better mood every day. I find like the last 2 years has kind of been like, hey, be on guard at any second. And it's almost like transitioned into, I'm not gonna say like whatever. I grew up liking punk and metal and shit. Like, hating stuff was awesome and stuff. So everybody going through that on their own end, I completely get it. I'm just kind of like, I'm a little baffled by the fan rage I've been seeing about stuff recently. Like, you're on this show, I'm really not gonna shit on stuff. I mean, if you like that, go look up Nerd Erotic. That guy hates everything. But yeah, I just kind of blown away recently by stuff I like the new He-Man show. I really fucking like. I think it's great. I think it's really cool to see the first half of that first season where things happen and like the rest of the characters kind of like get a chance to do stuff besides hold He-Man's beer. And I find myself being like really blown away by really touching scenes by characters that I would have considered the Jar Jar Binks of the Masters of the universe. So that's pretty cool. And Transformers Kingdom comes out, and there's a lot of a hate on for that new voice cast. But here's the thing, that original voice cast were the fucking Beatles of Canada. If you look at Gary Chalky and James Corlett, I mean, Gary Chalky's been in everything, including Sonic the Hedgehog. He's been Dr. Robotnik. But Ian James Corlett, who played Cheetor, we're talking about the original English adult Goku from Dragon Ball Z. I mean, these guys are legends. David Kaye, good God, Ben 10. So many things. Inuyasha, like that cast is, and Scotty McNeil. Scotty McNeil's been Wolverine and X-Men Evolution. I mean, you look at they were the creme de la creme of Canadian voice acting, and then the 90s, most acting in all the shows we love actually was done in Canada because it was a lot cheaper to do here. So yeah, fucking great. Oh, Eric, I'm glad you said that. Fear Street was awesome. I agree. You know what's really funny, though, about that, I gotta say, is that some Fear Street purists who read the books are super pissed at that Netflix series because it's kind of Fear Street in name only, and they didn't use any of the source material. But then I keep hearing, like, the source material's, like, dog shit. So I'm like, I'm a man of two worlds. I'm like, things should respect source material until I see the source material. Like, the original He-Man's cool and all, but do people really rewatch it now, not ironically with a glaze of nostalgia over them, thinking that this is a great cartoon? Or do they look at it as kind of like the thing that was held together with duct tape, where names were thought of in 3 seconds and plots were inconsequential compared to them trying to save money and just selling toys? So the fact that He-Man was as good as it was back in the 80s, that's great. But I'm just kind of like, this is a show that kind of like validates the toy collector to say, all those characters you bought besides him, they all matter, and we're gonna show you that you should give a shit about all these people, and they have thoughts, feelings, and they're amazing warriors, and they fight like fucking crazy. So yeah, but what can you do? Oh, here we go. Obviously, 3D blew up in 2010 with James Cameron's Avatar, and then the internet says it stopped in 2016. Thank you very much, GMG. Yeah, I was wondering about that before. It's crazy how I remember Superman Returns, for certain action scenes you had to put on the glasses, and I just remember like watching. I just remember watching, what the fuck was it? That Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movie with these sunglasses, which are essentially sunglasses already in a dark theater. And the movie isn't exactly the brightest movie in the world. I just remember thinking, what the fuck is going on? I can't see anything. This doesn't look 3D. I spent half the movie kind of compare watching, just being like, is it 3D though? It kind of is it though? I remember, I guess some companies did it better, and just in general, I eventually would just not go to 3D movies. Like if someone bought me a ticket for a 3D movie, I'd be like, I'll pay you back, but I just can't go to this. I just don't care enough to watch this movie in a lesser way. And it was kind of nice to it was kind of nice when the rest of the world caught back onto that, because I never thought 3D looked 3D enough. I think in the IMAX with the big, thick, crazy, expensive glasses, it kind of pulled off. I guess if you think so, let me know. Let me know what you thought about 3D cinema. Yeah. Okay, what else do we got here? Hey, what's going on, Alexander? I remember She-Ra's series. She was a companion for He-Man. Yeah, She-Ra was like He-Man's twin sister, and I remember kind of like I remember back in the day where it was She-Ra. My sister was not big into that. She was like into Gem and Holograms, but I remember She-Ra was on, and I remember all of my sister's friends, who she's about 5 years older than me, kind of like jumping, running towards the TV. We're talking like I'm like 5 years old here, maybe a little earlier given the air dates. But yeah, and it's crazy, and it's everything has its place, and everyone has its fans, and everyone's allowed to be disappointed by anything. I wouldn't use the word disappointed anymore because, pardon me, that I think we're all kind of like I think we're all old enough to realize that children get disappointed on Christmas. We're adults. We could be slightly let down by something, but disappointed where, a kid didn't get what he wanted for Christmas or his birthday is a little bit different than what a cartoon expectations is, given that we're adults. And I love the shit out of stuff. Cartoons got me through this pandemic. I'm not I gotta say, just a big shout out to series done right. Like The Mandalorian this year kicked my ass. I remember watching the Mighty Ducks, the new series. That was great. I loved Invincible. I love Invincible. I really dug Captain America, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I mean, WandaVision. Good God, I was glued to the TV every week. I reinstated my own TGIF. I used to watch WandaVision and Invincible every single week, neck to neck. It was so awesome. So a lot of great television, a lot of great stuff. Having some good times. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. That 3D shit. 3D was shit if it wasn't IMAX. That is true. Justin, what's going on, man? Oh, Justin's one of the most talented people I've ever met. His Joe impression from Family Guy is nothing short of astonishing, and he's so good at so many things. Justin Totino, I gotta say, I'm a big fan of his, and the rest of the world is going to be a big fan of his too, because he's just awesome. Thank you, Justin, for being in one of my silly skits. I really appreciate it. God, 3D movies, what a waste of time and money. The last and only movie that was good with 3D effects was Spy Kids 3D. I saw Spy Kids 3D. I was convinced that Sylvester Stallone was working off a speeding ticket by being in Spy Kids 3D. But yeah, no, I got huge kudos to Robert Rodriguez. He filmed all that in his house, and he filmed with the green screen stuff. He filmed all the Sin City stuff in his house. That guy was the type of guy that just really, he is like, even though I prefer Tarantino as a director and writer, Robert Rodriguez really said to himself, how can I make sure that no one can tell me what to do anymore? And he just renovated his basement. He expanded it. He made this whole... Robert Rodriguez is kind of the reason why you want to buy a DVD for special features, because he will fill it with so many things, so many making of, and he's not... It's kind of like he got superpowers, but he wants everybody else to have them too. So he'll tell you how he did this, and he'll show you how he got that, and just make the whole concept of filmmaking really like this accessible thing, and not this unreachable house of mirrors and secrets that I found it used to be prior to guys like him. So anyway, huge shout out to Robert Rodriguez. He makes me so happy. Oh, Justin says, hey, thanks. He appreciates it. Hey, sweetie. Justin says hi. Hey, Peter. God.
Hi, Justin.
And Melissa says hi, Justin. Hey, okay. If anyone reads another Rebel Without a Crew, if anyone reads anymore, Rebel Without a Crew is one of the best books about low budget filmmaking ever written. So you heard it here. You heard it here today, folks, tonight. And it's true. I do read. I would love to read that. I read the Lloyd Kaufman one, Make Your Own Damn Movie. Perhaps I should read more than one book and it will affect my filmmaking ability. But yeah, there's so many people out there that are so good at stuff. Hey, what's going on? Team DC or Team Marvel? It's a good question. I want to see the Suicide Squad, and that's coming out tomorrow. And the thing is, there's DC movies that I love, and DC really started the superhero film. I mean, with Superman, and also Captain Marvel. I think was one of the first superhero serials ever created. Even though Captain Marvel was not DC back then, it was actually owned by another company that was sued. That got sued the bejesus out of by DC because they thought they were ripping off the Superman character, which in a way they were. But Superman the movie was just part of my life growing up. Even though like I love it, and as an adult I really respect it a lot more because when I was a kid I just wanted more action and less story, less build up. Which nowadays I'm like defending the new He-Man where I'm like, no, story's good, story's good. But and Batman 89 was just like, it was kind of like the first time I heard Metallica. It was just like, how did this happen? This is just everything all at once. And DC really had a really heads up about everything because Marvel didn't have the budget to match it. So when you look at the old Captain America movie from the 1990s, or even the pilots for the show that was supposed to be kind of like the Captain America version of the Incredible Hulk show from the 70s. You look at all those, and Marvel really didn't get its shit together until X-Men 1. And X-Men 1 was about 99, so we're talking 20 years ago. So 20 years, Marvel and DC have actually been able to have that verse factor, at least there. But all through the 90s, Marvel had a real heads up. I think the first true Marvel versus DC moment in my life was when Batman the Animated Series came out and X-Men the Animated Series came out, which are both gloriously cool, but very different. 1 second. I'm talking a while. I'm going to have a sip of this. What is this? Anyway. Marvel versus DC, picture this. It's 1991, and Batman the Animated Series is being worked on almost at the same time as X-Men the Animated Series, and comes out almost at the same time on the same network, both on Fox Kids. So that is the most Marvel versus DC thing I can think of, because it's like, if Batman the Animated Series is like smooth jazz, it's kind of like, it's smoky, it's dark, but it's very good. It's professional. It's very on point. It has a mood. It has a tone. X-Men the Animated Series was like a garage band. It was loud. It was vibrant. It was so punk rock, and it was a little cheaper in the animation sometimes. But man, those lyrics that show sang hit hard. Fucking love Batman, and I love X-Men, and I think they both belong in the Hall of Fame of what brought the comic book cartoon to a whole other level that we all must live by. And that's kind of funny because later on, when The Dark Knight came out, after Marvel started making movies and they make Spider-Man movies, and all of a sudden these competing studios, like Warner Brothers was always the granddaddy of Batman, Superman. No one was ever going to make other superhero movies when it came to DC, but Marvel kind of sold their rights to everybody when they're going bankrupt in the 90s. That you had Sony making them, you had Universal making them, you had Fox making them. And it's kind of interesting because it was always their take or a lesser version, or they really, when adapting, they kind of took a lot of, they were almost embarrassed about their own source material when it came to these other companies, that they would not, they would kind of take a little bit too It would, I can't think of the right expression right now, but you know what I mean. It's just a lot of things they just kind of threw in without kind of any source material or fan respect. We got to admit sometimes. So with that, it's oh shit, is the music done again? Yes, it is. All right, so with that, it's really. I apologize, everybody. I was lost in thought for a second. But with that, I find that the summer where The Dark Knight came out, and yeah, when The Dark Knight came out, it was the same summer as Iron Man 1, where Marvel Studios finally said to themselves, "Hey, let's make movies our way." And I find like ever since then, all comic book movies don't make those shitty 90s mistakes anymore, or those early 2000s mistakes anymore, where people take a lot of leniencies with that's the expression, with this with what they were supposed to do. So it's ever since then, when someone really fucks up, it's kind of like in my opinion, sometimes it's the you should have known better based on that summer. So when it comes to Marvel versus DC, I hold them in equal parts, but I find myself way into that Marvel cinematic universe, and I love all the different feels that each movie have. I like some movies more than others. Never been a fan of Thor: The Dark World, but got a lot of love for Ant-Man. And I never thought I'd like Ant-Man, but a lot of that stuff. So it's kind of fun. It's almost like collecting them all when you watch all the movies. The thing about the DC movies, my favorite DC movie in the last few years was Shazam. I thought it was a blast. I thought it was kind of like one of those 80s movies that was a little too fucked up for kids, like Gremlins or something like that, where there's some dark moments in a kind of like a family movie. I thought that was what Shazam was. And it was kind of like a good balance of that. But I'm looking forward to the Suicide Squad. I think that's going to be like my other favorite DC movie that I saw in a while. And I like the Snyder Cut a lot, but I like the Snyder Cut in a sense that I saw it like as some people who never saw the original Justice League, the Justice League cut. They, I saw an improvement, while other people still aren't kind of down with the portrayal of Batman and Superman, and that's fine. It's all good. You can love the Snyder Cut, you can not like the Snyder Cut. I think it's pretty cool that at least we saw the intended version, because I definitely got. The only thing that bothers me when I watch something is when a scene is there for nothing, and I think that's still what I have a problem with about The Last Jedi, is that there's so many scenes in The Last Jedi I think fucking work so well, but then there's other scenes where they'll go do something and it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And it's kind of reminds me of some jackass like me who rants on and on and on about a point, gets half there, and then quickly changes the subject, and you're like, but I listened to you for like 10 minutes. Wasn't there a punchline to that joke? And that's how I feel. But at the same time, do I feel that Last Jedi should have been lambasted, or I'm making up words, should have gotten raked over the coals as much as it did? No. Like, whatever. It's a movie. It's not our lives. It's a movie, and it could be our lives, and we could really love things. But at the same time, we can't live or die by our entertainment. We should we can't be in a position anymore where it's just like a movie can hurt our feelings. You know what I mean? There's too much happening in the world where we can be that vulnerable. We all got to be stronger and accepting, kind of just pass the baton to the people that do like something. In fact, I think all of us out there, when we are asked to review something, we shouldn't be like, how can I put as much as my own personality into this review as possible? We should just actually kind of list who would like it. I think that would be great. Like, hey, if you're a Goonies and Die Hard fan, you'll love this movie, even if it's not for, and if it's not for you, the most intelligent thing you can do is kind of like, instead of just bitch about it, you can just kind of like steer it in the direction of the audience that would like it. Because let's face it, we all don't all like the same shit, nor should we, because that would be boring. If we all like the same stuff all the time, then entertainment would have to be watered down till it's acceptable by all. And all of a sudden, what we love and all the danger and dirtiness of, a punk rock album, that's how you turn it into like Fall Out Boy or something, You just auto-tune until every person who hears it will accept it instantly, and nobody will be like, Jesus, what the hell is that? Who's that singing? Oh, Ozzy Osbourne. God damn. It's pretty cool, though. I gotta say, after listening to like 5 minutes, I think it's pretty cool. But there's that acceptance period that I'm talking about. And all the stuff that I love, it's not always instant gratification. It's usually, that's kind of fucked up. What else about this? You know? And I like the journey. Sorry for all the yakking, everybody. I hope. I hope you're. I hope you're having fun. I'm having fun too. Oh, hey, Alexander's asking thoughts on Cruella. I love Cruella. I thought it was fucking awesome. I was so surprised by how much I like Cruella. My mom and I watched it, and I popped it on. I'm like, oh, this should be okay, I guess. And I was just blown away by the style, the story, the writing, the reason for it all happening. Is absolutely fucking fascinating. And big shout out to Emma Stone. She has entertained me endlessly through so many films, starting with Superbad, but goes all the way around. Amazing in Birdman. If you haven't seen Birdman's fucking amazing. Yeah, I usually have a co-host or someone to talk to, so it's usually not me talking like repeatedly for 45 minutes. So if I sound a little tired, it's because I was going to go on for 5 minutes and decided to stay on for 40. And my microphone is telling me stop. Hey, Scott, what's going on? He's back. Yeah, just to finish off about Cruella, absolutely fucking awesome. In fact, if you haven't seen Cruella, I definitely say check it out. It's like not a Tim Burton movie, but it almost feels like it could be a Tim Burton movie with the colors and the kind of the choices. And Cruella's like a fucking punk rocker, man. She's just a bad. She's not a puppy killer in this movie, I gotta say. That comes later. But in the beginning, she was just kind of a really rebellious, don't fuck with me type of attitude, and it was pretty cool. And a cover of the Stooges, Now I Want to Be Your Dog, is in it, and it's very appropriate, especially given the time that they're portraying. And it's awesome, just really, really, really cool. Just going back a little bit about. Tell me what you think about The Mandalorian. I love The Mandalorian. I think The Mandalorian is the best thing Star Wars has done since Rogue One. And I like those 3 new movies, but at the same time, I know kids that live and die by those 3 new movies. I know some people that love the prequels so much, but I will say that me as a fan, just what kind of raised my eyebrows and made me watch more was definitely the Spirit of the Mandalorian, because it felt, I love a dirty galaxy. I love a galaxy that has paint missing. I love a galaxy that has scratch marks. I love a galaxy that just seems worn. And 3, or I think it's like 6, takes place 6 years after Return of the Jedi. And if Return of the Jedi, the galaxy was falling apart, this is definitely even more. So, sorry about that. Okay, I got a new wire. So, yeah. What about? Son of a bitch. There you go. Now it's better. It's all happening right now. Thanks for hanging out with me. By the way, this is a live broadcast. We're all hanging out. We're talking in the chat, and we're having a good time. But yeah, Mandalorian kicked my ass. I mean, of course, Baby Yoda / Grogu, amazing. I unsubscribed to so many nerd pages that kind of like want clicks more than they want to show the fans respect. And there's something that happened in season 2 that I publicly still don't talk about, just in case someone is getting into Mandalorian that should not have blown for them. And just to say, if you've never seen The Mandalorian before and you've been hesitant and you ever kind of like Star Wars, you don't feel like watching every single movie, but you will like the original ones, I'd say just jump into Mandalorian, because it feels like what Star Wars should be. And it's got great characters, great actors, and it's fucking awesome. I love Mandalorian. And Rogue One, I don't know. Rogue One really spoke to me, and I've only seen it twice, but just, I remember the emotion. I remember how it made me feel. And yeah. And I know people can pick it apart and say, oh, plot wise and all this other stuff. And I'm like, that's fine if you want to, if you want to be the smartest dude in the room and you want to like Goodwill, be that guy with the ponytail and Goodwill Hunting, be my guest. But when it comes to Rogue One, I just have a fucking blast. I love a good dog fight. Not dogs fighting, planes and all that other shit. Justin, what's going on? He says, I know the Mandalorian bit, and yeah, I almost cried. Yeah, me too, dude. I was in I have a garden chair, that folds out, and I bring it into the kitchen because I like the television in the kitchen. I love the sound and the visual of it. And I put my outside chair, like pure white trash, my outside chair in my kitchen, and I stare at the television. And I watched Mandalorian like that every single week because I thought it would almost felt lucky. And I'll never forget that moment. And just kind of like, this no. And I don't know. I'll remember that. Thank you, Star Wars. During all the COVID bullshit, needed that. And then sure enough, I go online and then there's like these guys who are just like, yeah, it was good, but, and I'm like, unsubscribe. Fuck you. Everybody who just, everybody who makes, who are monetized and make profit off of getting angry and stirring you up, you shouldn't trust their opinion, because at this point, the best way to get views is to have a title that says such and such destroyed, such and such completely fails, and all that shit. And I'm just like, I'd rather die a failure than live as a sellout. I gotta say that. And you're talking about a guy, music-wise, who will put on any pony costume you want and play any pop song. I will make a living playing music. But when it comes to just bullshit and shooting the shit and talking about stuff I love during the weirdest time in humanity, I ain't fucking trying to make a few bucks just to, keep you pissed. Not doing it. No one's asking me to. But yeah. All right, holy shit! There's a lot of stuff here. All right, so back to the Marvel versus DC thing. Justin says after the WB/DC Superman and Batman films walked, so Blade and X-Men could run. That's true, because back in the day when Batman and Robin bombed like fucking crazy, Blade was this superhero movie that they kind of kept under wraps as a superhero movie. They just portrayed it as an action horror movie. And what's really funny about that is, like, it was always a Marvel film. In fact, Blade saved the Marvel film. Blade was the first great Marvel film, but we don't regard that. We're always talking about these other flicks and X-Men, but really it's like Blade was awesome. And when I watched Blade for the first time, I knew Blade because of Spider-Man the animated series, but I never thought about like, it's your traditional superhero film, because after Batman and Robin, people were scared to put people in capes. They're scared to put people in colors, spandex. That's why the X-Men were all wearing Matrix suits. Like, it was, Spider-Man was testing grounds. Like, Spider-Man was the first in costume superhero they had done since. And looking back on it now, it's really funny watching the growing pains of the first Incredible Hulk movie and Daredevil. Even though I got to say the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie is the most effective director's cut I've ever seen. If you see the director's cut, it's 40 minutes longer. And long before Daredevil, the show, you saw a lot more of Matt Murdock, the lawyer who can solve crime by using his skill. And seeing them investigate the murder of a prostitute, linking it to the Kingpin, someone in the Kingpin's camp, and that's how they eventually solve, when he says, word's out on the Kingpin, it's like, yeah, because, we got your guy to sing all your secrets because we found the prostitute he killed. So anyway, and Coolio's in it for a little bit as someone who was accused of murder who didn't do it and that they are representing, and it's really cool. So if you haven't seen the director's cut of Daredevil, it's available for $7.99 in most drugstores. Yeah, true story. So what else do we got here? I should really be looking at this stuff before I just zone out, huh? Okay, so I think I've been bullshitting for long enough. Thank you very much for watching the Ryan Stick Show, everybody. This has been great. Do me a favor. if you haven't seen the show on YouTube, give it a subscribe or give it a watch, or just look at some of our old stuff, because I want to get revenge against my enemies by having better viewership and more subscribers. So I appreciate it. I hope you guys all have a lovely evening. It's going to be great. Just quick on the nerd news update right before we go, which I guess I should have done a nerd news update in the beginning, but you're all here now, so why not? That new Carnage, that new Let There Be Carnage trailer dropped on the internet. And yeah, Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. This is Cletus Cassidy, almost 30 years from creation, coming on the big coming on the big screen. This isn't a porno. Arriving on the big screen relatively soon, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be really cool. I wasn't, Venom, the first movie, was more enjoyed by my friend Big Dave, who loves a good action movie and loves some Venom. And there's some parts of Venom I really dug, you know. And what I thought Venom needed was a better antagonist in the first movie, and I'm guessing that we're going to get that in the second movie, because he has the antagonist of antagonists. He has Carnage, and it's going to be really cool. And seeing Woody Harrelson play the role, Woody Harrelson scares the shit out of me. He always has since Natural Born Killers. So I'm trying to picture Natural Born Killers with a symbiote costume, symbiote. I don't know. Trailers and movies and Sony have done so many things to confuse me about the pronunciation of the goo that makes Venom that I'm not sure. And yeah, watch the trailer. Watch the trailer for Kate. I haven't seen Kate yet. By the way, if all of you out there, right before we leave, what else in nerd news? I just want to make sure that we talked about everything, because there's so much great stuff coming out all the time. Well, we talked about Suicide Squad. We talked about the Carnage trailer. It's we live in a golden age of streaming, folks. I mean, I know we're all bored. I know we've been inside forever, and I know there's all this talk or whatever about stuff for the last 3 to 4 years, even 10, arguably. Some of the best television in the history of television has been produced, and there's all stuff that I guarantee we all haven't seen yet. And let's just be very thankful that creativity has gotten to the part where mediocrity is not accepted enough anymore, where people could take some real fucking chances. And I'm not, I dig those CW shows, but if you want to get dark and deep in the superhero lore, all those CW shows, kind of like Batman and Superman and comic books, kind of created the ability to have a Virgo comic books, and to have to have Virgo and to have Image and all that other stuff. And I'm really glad that all that very mainstream acceptable superhero stuff exists. And if it's not for you, that's cool, but it might be for for your kids or your little brother or your niece, nephew. It's really great that all those exist, because it gives room for them to take more chances with other shows, like for us, because I really like Doom Patrol, and I like the first season of Titans like a lot. And I love Watchmen. That series was fucking crazy. And I know it's confusing, and I know it starts off kind of like the what the fuck, but at the same time, if you give it time, you let the story and the mystery unveil, I guarantee by season's end, you know exactly what's up, you know exactly why everything's happening, and you're appreciative that you went along for the ride. All right, I think that's enough for tonight. Thank you very much for watching me tonight. Appreciate it. And Sylvia, you're right. Watchmen the movie was amazing too. I love Watchmen the movie. They keep making longer cuts, and I keep watching them. They're like, this is the one with the flashbacks. This is the one with the cartoon. I'm like, bring it on. I love it. Rorschach's my man. All right. Thank you very much for watching. It's been great. Go to FantasiaFestival.com. Check out the Fantasia Film Festival. Such cool movies, horror movies, science fiction movies from all around the world. Give their trailers a watch. Look up the review. Look up the synopsis. If Mitch Davis wrote it, you want to watch it. Have yourselves a good night, and we will be in touch. We're gonna We're going to be having fun. It's going to be great. Thank you for making this a lovely evening. I got to say, I almost didn't do the show, and I really appreciate it. I'm so glad I did. Thank you so much. I'm going to play that theme song. It's going to be great. Good night, everyone.
The Ryan Stick Show.